first, I'd like you to all just close your eyes. And I'd just like you to start humming with me. Hum. So you can open your eyes. So I quite like starting with that because I think the thing about humming, as you can read, although there is a typo which I apologise for greatly, is it kind of explains talking at these things quite well. And I also really like the idea of a lot of the work that we do is it's all interactive, and it's the whole idea about trying to bring people together and have a shared experience and share our sort of consciousness to a certain degree. But it's all about the simplification and about something that's sort of quite memorable. So I thought it was kind of quite apt. And it's just quite a nice thing to do. And there was quite a lot of talk actually in Auckland about just actually the word nice and actually being nice to people. And it's at school you kind of taught that it's a really bad idea to be nice to people, but actually it's a really fantastic, useful thing. So that's me. It's a cheap trick, but it gets everybody smiling again. That's me at the age of about 3 or 4, I think. And my parents and my girlfriend kind of always say I seem to have a lack of kind of attention, really. I seem to run around quite a lot, and I'm apparently very hard to get in a room and fully focused. So I end up doing quite a lot of things, which hopefully will come through as I'm talking. When I was a kid, I used to collect information, basically. I mean, this is 78, so I was 6 at this point. I used to collect timetables, apparently, and talk about how the German timetables that we went to quite a lot were far better designed than English timetables, and the forms were better. So there was obviously a graphic designer or a designer in me somewhere. I was obsessed with drawing cars, probably like quite a lot of boys at that time. I used to collect this kind of logos from different things as well, and I used to redraw this truck apparently all the time and redraw different names on the truck. So I was trying to rebrand things when I was awfully disturbing. So there's my family and my dad and my mum and my sister and my aunt. And it's when I was growing up, I kind of grew up with, when I think about when I was a kid, I grew up with things like this, which I remember as the sort of my childhood. And they're graphic things that I remember. And you know, they were quite politicized, and they always taught me to do the right thing. Nuclear power, this is another thing which really resonates from my childhood, which is two Danish girls designed this in 1975. And I love this thing. It's just, it stayed with me my whole life. And they're just things, like I said, you know, my interest in design has definitely been there pretty much all through my life. I was a graffiti artist for many years, which was pretty much how I found my route into design. Graffiti taught me about form and typography and colour and penmanship and a lot of the things which I really, really focus on still now. But it was just it was just fun. And you know, I've had a bit of an authority problem, I would say, most of my life. And I think it probably stems from there. I left school, or was kind of ejected from school when I was 16, and did eventually actually go to college, but it was kind of on my own terms to a certain degree. So this is kind of what I was doing when I was about 12 or 13, sitting at home drawing, which is obviously a fairly nerdy occupation. At college, I pretty much was really interested in content and writing content and research, and then actually producing things from that. And it really got me thinking or understanding the fact that design solutions always should come out of research and understanding the content, because actually without the content, you don't have anything, a problem to solve. And design, I guess that's the difference between art and design. Design solves a problem, and art doesn't, there's no problem there to solve with art. So that's the magazine I did when I was at college. So I started working about 13 or 14 years ago, and at that point, Flash was this huge thing in London, well, around the world. It's kind of blew up. So we started kind of playing around with Flash and doing kind of pretty large websites at that time. We did 007.com, which a lot of people hated us for because it was their dream job. I always tell this story, but I tell it again. But we got invited to a Bond premiere, which was pretty special. And it was this big schmancy do in Leicester Square. And we were walking down the red carpet, and all the all the photographers, the paparazzi started, flashing away. And someone at the back of these photographers kind of said, "Oh, who are they?" And somebody at the front went, "Nobody." And we went, "Oh, okay." So it wasn't necessarily the high point of my life. So we did the website for this is the first thing we won a BAFTA for, which was a website we did about 10 years ago, but it was for Habitat, which is Terence Conran's kind of furniture interior store. Fantastic to work on, learned a lot through doing it. But it was the first time we started to look at really looking at how people use things rather than thinking of them as users. And this will resonate, I think, quite a way through the 16 minutes I've got left. So I'm going to speed up again. But it was basically looking at thinking of a website as basically like a shop window rather than a thing on a screen.